Phil, I want to ask about pretty much what you do and everything like that, because I know it says on your Twitter profile, President of Wrestling Scene on Discovery ID. Tell the fans a little bit about that and what you're doing.
Yeah, tell us about that and what's really behind this. What's the story behind all of that?
Sure. So, my name is Phil Stamper. I wrestled for a number of years. Unfortunately, after a long period of time, I have a hole in my neck.
Oh, jeez.
Can't quite see the scar, but I had ended up having actually the same surgery that Edge did. I had fusion of my C5, C6, C7, had spinal stenosis, so had to cut back being as present in the ring as I was. But because I had also leaned into commentary and was more of a mouthpiece in wrestling, I started to stand up and I legit became the general manager for something like 5 promotions overnight. And so it started to be this thing of like, well, Philip, you're really like running things in the world of wrestling. And my brain went, yeah, it's like I'm the president of wrestling. And so that kind of caught on and people were like, yeah, that really works. So just kept rolling it through. The reference you made to Investigation Discovery and I can't remember what other one you said.
It was, I believe it was President of Wrestling, seen on Investigation Discovery Wrestling, and then Amazon, Hulu. You could see it all on there and everything like that. So if you want to discuss a little bit about what you do with that and everything.
So I also have some experience with acting. I have I have an IMDb page.
Wow, that's really cool. That's big time when you do that, man.
There you go. Some of it's been extra work, but some of it I've had some feature roles. So it's I've been on 2 Investigation Discovery TV shows, Evil Twins and Who Killed Jane Doe. And I've been in 2 Super Bowl commercials.
I did not know that.
So one was for Pepsi, one was for Bud Light. So it was.
That's good though. That's cool. It's awesome.
In the Bud Light one, you see like this much of like the back of my head. It's great. Like, but people found me. My sister-in-law found me before I found me.
There you go. So there you go. See, family helps, right? That's always what it comes down to. So I actually wanted to get to, because I have ads also really quick. I had neck surgery as well on my C5, C6. I had a bulging disc in my spinal cord. So for me, you being a wrestler and everything like that, how long did it take for you to get acclimated to realize it, kind of like what Edge, because with Edge, it took him forever to get back to the ring and everything like that. How long did it take you to realize, I don't know if this is going to be like I could do this in the ring anywhere, but I could work outside the ring as much as possible, and that's what I want to do.
So I had, for a number of years, sort of leading up to when I had surgery, I had nerve pain all the way down my arm and into my back. And so, and a lot of people will say this when they have surgery, the first thing they feel like when they wake up is, wow, I don't have nerve pain anymore.
Yes.
And
I remember.
Right. And for the most part, that was true for me. What they also didn't know is that I also had shoulder damage. So there was still some compression on the nerve for a while. But I have some permanent nerve damage in my back and in my arm that flares up now and again. It's not horrible. Like it's not, before the surgery, the final like couple of months before surgery, I couldn't sleep. I felt like my arm was on fire. Like literally feeling that sensation. And so I was sort of winding down physically a little bit before that because physically my left arm was almost useless. And so when I got the surgery, it was like, okay, I'm gonna get better and be so super healthy, and then realized, oh, I can't pick up anything with my left arm at all. And it took almost a year for some of the nerve connections to come back. So and it's been now 2.5 years since surgery, and I'm just now able to like really functionally use my arm and like, oh, I can carry heavy groceries again and I can pick up boxes. So from the wrestling perspective, because like I teach, I do grappling seminars because I have experience with judo and jujitsu. So I'll talk about like submission wrestling. And for me, I didn't trust myself in a ring to have a match. Like here I am, I'm going to pick somebody up and slam them when my left arm is just a post. Like, no, that to me, that's not safe for myself or anybody else in the ring. So, I had to curtail it. And it's like, well, how am I still going to be involved in this sport that I love so much and have been so active in for so long? And so I just transitioned into being more of a mouthpiece. I still get physically involved when it needs to be.
Of course.
But for the most part,
very cautious. You got to be very cautious.
You got to be self-aware.
Yeah. My weirdest, because things happen and, you kind of lose coordination a little bit too after surgery.
Sure.
And so like I fell a couple of times, like within the few months after surgery. And I remember, I think it was like 4 months after surgery, I was actually at a wrestling event and it was an outdoor event. I'm sitting at a picnic table, and somebody sits down next to me, and we're just watching, and about an hour goes by. The entire table flips up and flips me backwards, and I take this solid bump in gravel.
I don't even mean to laugh. That's just,
no, because in the moment, this is my process went. Can I move? Okay, I can wiggle my fingers. And a ref who knew me came over and was like, "Oh my God, Phil, are you okay?" Yeah. And I just start laughing. I laughed for probably 5 minutes.
You're probably thinking my luck, right? We'll go figure.
So Phil, I have a quick question for you. So when training wrestlers, what's the most important thing that they have to learn, they have to go through?
It's a little bit of a mix, right? Because there's that part of you have to learn the aspects of wrestling, like how to wrestle. People who've never had that competitive sport component. Well, okay, then you have to physically learn it. Then you have to be in good enough health to be able to compete. And there's people of all different sizes and shapes who join in professional wrestling. So how do they get to that point where they're going to be sustainable inside of a wrestling ring? But a lot of it, and everybody sort of says the sort of shut up and listen component, and that's so important because people will of course question, and questioning for clarification is great. Questioning because they don't believe it's a thing, or well, why should I do this thing? It's like, well, no. And then you start learning all of the aspects of how's the psychology of wrestling. How do you contact a promoter and present yourself? How do you build a resume for wrestling specifically? Yeah. So there's how do you cut a promo, which I also do seminars on too, because now I have this experience speaking on mic.
Exactly. And those are a lot of important things because a lot of wrestlers, they need to know how to do promos, what to say, how to present it, and basically just how to really connect with the crowd and the audience.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and I remember one of the takeaways that I got when they created the WWE Performance Center was that they had a little production studio there, and they had a way that people could film their own promos and bring them in. And I remember hearing that, and I was like, that's so crucial to be able to do. And to see a guy like today, Killer Cross, well, not today, but recently, well, now Karrion Kross. I'm not yet call him Killer Cross.
Can't call him Killer anymore.
Right. So Cross filmed his own, like a promo sort of as a demo, did it himself, gave it to the WWE team, and then they basically refilmed it and just added a little bit of more of like dimension and shadow and light. But it was really the creation that he put together that helped then build what he's doing. And so many guys now who get a lot of the recognition for some of the things they're doing, and some of the guys who are being picked up because they've put together these amazing video packages that tell this dynamic.
Like recently, WWE, I talked about this last week with Josh. They added Alex Zane to the Performance Center.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen his video packages. His are amazing. Like, if you haven't seen those, you have to check it out on his YouTube channel because they're very well done.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Phil, I wanted to get your take on this because Alex and I we were talking before. Actually, we're getting to war games right that we want to get your take on it. But I got to ask you, you see AEW nearly hit the million range in viewership, which, look, we knew was going to happen once you heard.
Yeah, we all knew that.
Once you knew Sting was going to be on the show, you knew that was it. It was over.
Yeah.
Is it time for NXT, in your opinion? Because NXT is still a very good show.
Mm-hmm.
To maybe move to another night, a Tuesday night, a Thursday night, and trying to maybe stop competing with AEW because AEW with Tony Khan has this, I guess, endless page, this check where it's just there's no limit to it. I'll get whatever I need to get done, or should they try to continue with this war that, frankly, and I'll say it, they're getting their ass kicked right now with it.
So what gets complicated with the WWE is that WWE isn't necessarily wrestling on television. It's a television show that sometimes features wrestling. And so in television world, the way I don't understand this myself because this doesn't compute to me, television execs sometimes go, well, wait a minute. Because I remember I first learned this when like Smallville was a big hit on television. Mm-hmm. And here comes UPN and they're like, we're going to put Star Trek Enterprise against Smallville. And it's
remember that.
Isn't that the same market? Like the same kind of crowd you want? Yeah. And it's like, well, no, you compete because viewers are active at that time. And if we can take viewers from them, even if it's not going to be the winning viewership, we still get a part of that pie. And so there's that aspect of WWE that is so much based on television production that I don't know if they're going to make that decision or not. It might be a network that says, this is the decision we're making for you. And right now, Thursday nights, unless you're watching something on streaming, doesn't have televised wrestling on it.
Alex, didn't I say that right before Phil came on? I said they should.
Yeah, you definitely did. You
NXT.
said that they moved. NXT needs to move to Thursday night because they're better off going that route.
Phil, there's nothing on there because you got Raw Monday and NWA Tuesday, AEW. I mean Impact as well Tuesday, AEW Wednesday. There's a Thursday. Why not? They take it and run with it.
I'm doing
it would also give them more TV time and more time to focus on building the characters that they have on NXT and really just building their promos and going that route and giving the audience a way to connect with NXT better and really see why NXT is a really good brand.
I mean, I do a streaming on my own channels of independent wrestling matches that I get from promoters on Thursday nights at 8 because there's no other wrestling on. So why not?
Exactly. Alex, did you want to ask something?
Yeah. So, Phil, I wanted to get your thoughts on the NXT Takeover main event. It was very well done. I enjoyed the main event, the War Games main event between Undisputed Era and the Brand. What were your thoughts on that match? And can you tell us? Can you break down exactly how they prepared for this match and how much it took for them to get warmed up and be ready and really be in the best shape for a match like this? Because matches like these are very intense, very physical, and literally you're putting your body on the line in every part of every moment in these matches.
The worst I ever felt after a match personally was in a cage match where somebody did a coast to coast to me and I had a chair next to my face inside of a steel cage. And I remember just feeling this whole vibration in my body that just lasted for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And now imagine the dimension of you're just not on a ring. You have the surface of a steel cage that you're hitting up against. There's weapons, there's tables. You have that the dynamic of that space that's between the two rings that I'm so glad people are oh, there's space between the two rings. Let's functionally use it in a War Games match.
Yeah, really, right? Let's use the steel right in between the two and powerbomb somebody on it. That's a great idea.
And I don't know, just because I did that once in a War Games match, and I was like, this makes sense. Why are we doing this?
It's and in the women's match too, Phil, they did the same thing. They did.
Yeah. But it's just that, you just go into it, and it's it's going to be brutal. It's going to be hard on your body, but you have to be more brutal to the other person. And when you go into it, it's a fight. It changes the whole dynamic of you're not walking in necessarily to a wrestling match and you're trying to go hold for hold with somebody. You're trying to be punishing. And it's
you're trying to deliver a good performance and really keep the fans on their feet. And for me, the best part of that match was when Undisputed Era they took out the rest of Team McAfee, cornered Pat. And for months, Undisputed Era, for months, they were just trying to get back at Pat McAfee, who was antagonizing Adam Cole and antagonizing Undisputed Era. And one of the things that surprised me in this match was Pat McAfee climbing to the top of the cage and doing a swanton from the top of it. And that really got me in shock because I've never seen you don't think Pat McAfee would be able to do something like that. You think looking at him, he's not capable of doing something that extreme, but it really was a really good way to make the match interesting and really keep people excited about it.